We're going to try to create the code in AppScript to create images from DALL-E 3. We have this code here from OpenAI, and we already got our API key. This is not using ChatGPT. It is using actually just the OpenAI API. This is a curl command here, but we're going to change that and edit it a little bit. We also have our original text creation API here. We're going to copy this to the clipboard, and we're going to try to use this and edit it down to just creating images. Let's see if this works. So we're going to do extensions AppScript. By the way, bettersheets.co/snippets is where you can get this kind of code. If you want to just get the code, we're going to paste it into our AppScript here. So we have a sheet called API key. Yes, I'm going to actually call this API key, lowercase, so it matches this. Our role data, so our model looks like we just need to edit the model to be DALL-E 3. There we go. It looks like we need to also, let's go back here. We just need a prompt only, looks like. So this messages prompt, I think we can just rename this prompt and then put in text here, prompt. We don't need temperature, we don't need max tokens, we don't need top P, we don't need any of this other stuff. So let's look at that again. We want N1 and size. So N1 and the size. Let's just make it square, the same one they have here. Great. We need to do the post method. We're going to use headers bearer API key, and that's the same. Authorization bearer API key. Same thing. And our answer response is going to be some text because it looks like we're going to generate a URL. It says here somewhere where you can request one image at a time with DALL-E 3. Here. By default, images are generated at standard quality, but we could do HD if we wanted to. Yeah, let's see what happens here. So instead of putting a prompt here, I'm going to actually just, for testing purposes, put prompt here equals and say an illustration of a Google Sheet on a screen on the beach. Let's see how that works. So we're going to hit run and see what happens. If we get any errors, we need to authorize, of course. Let's do that. We should be getting error. You're not allowed to sample from this model. Invalid request error. Let's try DALL-E 2. Maybe it is a problem with the model. Right. Not allowed to sample from this model. Invalid request error. Parameters. We need to, let's see. I just realized our URL is what's wrong because this error is that you're not allowed to sample from this model, but our fetch is chat completion. So we just change it to api.com/v1 images generations. Now it should work. Let's run it again. We should be getting a URL. Yeah, now it's taking a little bit of time, so that's good. So we're going to get the content of this JSON and see what happens. Cannot read properties of undefined. So let's just do this, JSON, return JSON, and see what we get. In order to see it, we should have it logged. So we just change it to logger.log instead of return. And let's see what happens. So this is the debugging process. We're going to go through each and every step of this in this video. There we go. We have data back. We have a revised prompt, and we're looking for a URL. Here's the URL right there until right here, I think. There it is. That's exactly what we asked for. Cool. We just need to grab this URL from this JSON. So we're going to do JSON. I think we're going to use JSON.data0 because it's going to be the first option in the data package, and then .url. So let's run it and see what we get. And there we go. We get our URL. This is probably a new URL. Yeah, but it's a similar generation, similar image. Cool. So now we're creating images here. We want to return this, or in fact, what we may want to do is create a little bit of a image generation, enter a prompt, and get the image back. So let's go back to our sheet 1. We're going to write prompt here and put in a little spot for our prompt. It's going to be this text box, and then we'll get our responses. So we'll put in a page here, prompt and response, or URL actually. So B2 will be our prompt. So we're going to get that value from here. Prompt is spreadsheet app.getActive spreadsheet, get sheet by name, be sheet 1 for this purpose, dot get range. I think it was what, B2, get value. There you go, value. So that's our prompt. And what we want to do is variable image URL equals this json.data.url. We also may want to get the other thing here, the URL, the revised prompt. So variable revised. What's going on is that anytime we ask DALL-E for the prompt, it's going to revise it, it's going to rewrite it, it's going to add some more detail. If we can always undo that if we want, but for this, let's just get it and see what it looks like. 0.data.revised prompt. And now we are going to go back to our sheet, insert row before, and we're just going to do it before 4. And now we'll always have row 4. So we'll say spreadsheet app dot, actually we'll rename this to variable responses equals this, sheet responses, let's bring it all the way up. And now we can do sheet responses dot, not append row, get range, row 4, number 1 is going to be our prompt. Now let's do that all again, except we want the URL in the second column. Let's do a timestamp as well. New date in the third column, and in the fourth column we'll put the revised prompt. Make sure this is image URL. There we go. So all in the fourth row we'll do timestamp and revised prompt. Let's delete everything else. You can even view grid lines there. Create an image of a cat working on Google Sheets. And let's take this and run it, and let's see what happens. This is so exciting. So basically the idea is take this prompt, run it through AI. When you get the response back, insert in a row here in the fourth row, and then put all of our information there. Is this the URL? Now that's cool. That's a cat working on Google Sheets. Sweet. And we can see this is a much more detailed. It's a fluffy orange. It picks a color. Create an image of a cat working on Google Sheets. What we may want to do as well is delete B2 once we're done with it, because we're putting it in prompt. So let's take that, and once we put it in the prompt there, we will delete it. B2 clear content. There we go. And so now we've created essentially a ChatGPT here, just using the API, creating images in Google Sheets. This is really cool. Create a pug puppy working on Google Sheets from the pound. If we want to, we could create a function on open, and we can create, if we go to our snippets, let's get this function here, AI menu, and we'll run AI. Let's save this. We're going to refresh our page. Once it's saved. Refresh our page. And what's going to happen is we're going to get a little menu up here, AI menu. Oh, we need to rename that first item. Let's go back to do that. Create an image. We'll rename it to, instead of first item. You can also rename this from AI image. Let's save that, close it, refresh. Now we'll have an AI menu, create an image. It'll go from B2. Oh, I think we have to authorize it again. Now we have new stuff. Allow. This is really cool to be able to do this in just a few minutes, right? Oh, this is going to be awesome. Run again just to make sure it's running. It's fast. Maybe it was first one running. Oh, that's a cute pug puppy from the pound. That's a lot of puppies there. Cool. So thanks for watching. You can get this snippet. I'll put this snippet over at bettersheets.co/snippets if you want just the code itself.